Our next speaker is Lieutenant General Alfred M. Gray, Jr. of the United States Marine Corps, who is now Commanding General of the Fleet Marine Force Atlantic. Lieutenant General Gray entered the Marines, enlisted in the Marines in 1950, and in April of 1952 was commissioned as a second lieutenant. During a distinguished career, he has served in Guantanamo Bay, Vietnam, and Lebanon. He is no stranger to North Carolina, and in a sense, this is a homecoming for General Gray. For prior to assuming his current command, he was stationed at Camp Lejeune. Ladies and gentlemen, Lieutenant General Alfred M. Gray, Jr.
It's been kind of a long, hot afternoon. I can tell the way I'm sweating, and I can tell by watching the fans move. Those of you who are a little bit uncomfortable, if you were on a patrol in the bush in the Republic of Vietnam during the war, perhaps 60, 65 kilometers from home base, and you were lying there in the bush trying to keep a wounded comrade alive, as many of my fellow warriors here today have done, and praying for that medical evacuation helicopter to hustle it up, you'd still have about 15 minutes to wait. So you just sit there and you sweat and you wait. And you stick with us, all of you, because this indeed is a very, very, very special day when a great state of great people indeed welcome home and bring on formally something that all of us have known for a long, long, long time, and that is that those wonderful heroes of Vietnam, those who paid the ultimate sacrifice, indeed are at last fully prepared and fully honored, so that they take their place, rightfully so, alongside the long and glorious list of soldiers, of airmen, of Coast Guardsmen, of sailors, and indeed of civilians who have fought beside us for freedom. And they join the soldiers of the sea, as we Marines sometimes are called. Our veterans join these long legions of heroes, their comrades in arms. And finally, in my judgment, at least in North Carolina, they are free. No longer do they have to worry about their fellow veterans of Vietnam who are here with us and others like us who cannot be, and worry about the way Vietnam veterans have been thought about, talked about, written about, shown about in the media, and the like. Now they truly are at peace. And we ought to rededicate ourselves here this afternoon to the simple idea that we will never, again ever, allow anyone in this country or elsewhere in the free world as we know it bring dishonor to those who have done so much. 26 years ago, last 11 January, I, along with some others, first went to Southeast Asia and to Vietnam. First in the southern region and then elsewhere, and in 62 in Pleiku, and later in 64 and on through 68 and back in 69, and came out on the last helicopter in 1975 that left the Defense Attaché Office compound. Let me tell you that through that long and really great experience, because I was privileged to stand side by side with men and women who were warriors and supporters of warriors who all knew why they were in Vietnam. They had a sense of purpose. They weren't like these people who weren't there for the most part, who write about it and who try even today to rationalize their cowardice with their BS about why this, why that, and whatever. Why they even these gutless wonders even have the gall to say to young sailors, Marines, soldiers, Coast Guards, airmen that are standing here today and serving today, they've got the gall to tell these people and others that we Vietnam warriors couldn't fight. Well, first of all, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. They don't seem to understand that we went there in peace. We tried to give a grateful people an opportunity to be free and to live, not unlike what we've done in Lebanon, not unlike why soldiers go to Sinai today, and yes, indeed, it's the real story behind the casualties we commemorate to our honor from the USS Stark. Only, as has been said in this great nation, do we have the kinds of people that by heritage, by tradition, by upbringing, and indeed by spirit, are willing to give even their all for others. But we went there in peace. We have built high schools and roads and hospitals, and we did a lot that you never hear about. And when the North Vietnamese, supported by the Chinese Communists and the Russians, saw that that was not going to be good for them, they fought more and more and more with the whole gauntlet of insurgency warfare, revolutionary warfare, terrorism at its best. How many of you ever saw on our television? I can tell you, none. You never saw on television what I saw on a rice paddy 7 kilometers south of Da Nang in 1965, near a village. The Marines and sailors and Korean soldiers were keeping safe and free, and the local government people were cooperating with them. The Viet Cong and the North Vietnamese and the communists didn't like that. And so they went in there one night and they did some terrible things. You weren't there, I was. And at 6:30 in the morning, I saw a young girl, 9 years old, Vietnamese, in stark fear, come across that paddy, crying and yelling, Marine. The Marines rushed out. They took her gently in her arms. They recognized her. She was the daughter of the village mayor. Both arms had been decapitated between the elbow and the wrist by these so-called communists that some people seem to aspire to be. That, my friends, is terrorism as great and as stark as we face it today. And that's why you see anybody that fought in Vietnam knows that we went there with valor, and when we had to fight, we fought. And if anybody ever tells you that the Vietnam warriors and gunslingers couldn't fight, get your ticket to Hanoi. I'll get you a ticket to Hanoi. Anyone here? As a matter of fact, I'll buy you a ticket to Hanoi. And I'll give you $100 out of my savings for anybody you can find in Hanoi between the ages of 38 and 45. They're dead where they belong. Because, you see, sometimes when you love peace and you can't get peace through peaceful means, you got to fight for it. And that's what these veterans here and millions others like them in your great nation and my great country, that's what they have done. And so to honor them in such a way, we certainly could do no less. I'm not exactly in total agreement with John's wonderful speech. About 99.9%. But in a way, I, like many of you, have held a wounded soldier or a Marine or whatever in your arms and watched him die as you knew you couldn't save him, and all you could do was pray for him. And you wondered about it, sometimes in awe, sometimes in anger, and you never really quite forget what that memory means. But as I remember looking at these people for their last time on earth, I can still see, like you, that sense of purpose, that sense of belief. And how many times have we had men die in our arms and the last thing they said was, take care of yourself, or remember there's some booby traps over there, or give my love to my family. Always thinking of others. So you see, I don't mourn them anymore because they now are with the Legion of Honor, and they have achieved a loftier goal than any of us have today, because you see, they have paid the supreme sacrifice so that others may live, may dream, may be free. So it's kind of really a great privilege to be here with them today, and to, in their words, if they were here, and with their own